Good afternoon, bloomers and friends. It's Russ behind the camera again, and I'm here with Marion and John Rauschen. And today we're going to talk to them and find out a little bit about these bloomers who have been with Bloom for a very, very long time. They were part of, if I'm correct, the part of the first Bloom church services, or was it Bible study in the back of the community center, the Demuth Community Center?
It was
Tell us about
in a room in the back of the Demuth building, but we weren't in the large room yet that we now meet in. So that was 2004,
Well,
our first year driving out here.
Might not have been 2004, but I think certainly it was 2005.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you met, and just about who the Rauschens are.
Well, we're both from the same town, Le Sueur, Minnesota.
Valley of the Jolly Green Giant.
And we met in 7th grade. She was the only one in her class from a country school who was that age, and so her parents said, "You better go to town school," so she did. I'd gone to town school all my life, but I had lost my best friend, had moved away a couple years to California a couple years before when we were in 5th grade. And so I was looking for a friend, and she was looking for a friend, and we met sitting at the same table in art class.
Wow.
In the basement of the school. I mean, it wasn't a very pretty place. But anyway, we met there.
We met.
And that was the beginning of a long kind of...
We were confirmed together at Zion Church in Le Sueur. And then we graduated from high school there and went on to our education beyond high school. Mine was in nursing, and I went to Minneapolis and was there for 3 years, and then we moved to Oberlin, Ohio, and you can take over from there.
Yes, and I am a graduate of Macalester College in St. Paul, and went to Oberlin College for Graduate School of Theology. They no longer have that department anymore, but they did then, and I'm glad for that. And after 3 years of seminary studies, I accepted a call to a small parish in rural Iowa, and we were there for about 5 years, and then moved out to the Ann Arbor area of Michigan, and were there for about 5 years serving at church, and then received a call to be co-pastor at what's called the Associated Church in Owatonna, Minnesota, near our hometown. And my colleague was Presbyterian because it was a Presbyterian segment to Associated Church, and I was the United Church of Christ person because there was a UCC segment in that large congregation. So we were there 12 years. Then we moved to Minnetonka, Minnesota, a suburb of Minneapolis, where I served as senior minister at a church there for 10 years. I was in Owatonna for 12. And then I had opportunities 3 different times to do interim judicatory work, regional church work, and for about a year in each, and had oversight of congregations and pastors and that type of thing. And then finally went a most fulfilling final church was a small congregation just getting started, and we moved them from a community center into a permanent place, and the interesting thing of that is that the first service that we had in our new building, and it was just before I retired, was on March 9th of 2003. That happens to be the very first service that Bloom had
Wow.
in California. So there's that connection.
Wow,
is
that's
kind of
kismet. Interesting.
So you're probably wondering how we found Bloom and
Yeah. How did you folks find Bloom?
Well, we've been coming out here to the villas of Palm Springs this is our 28th year.
right.
So what?
1992 we started.
Okay, and we came with friends who said, "Oh, you've got to come to Palm Springs." So it started out to be a few days, and then the next year it was a few weeks, and we've come to the same place for 28 years, and have liked it, have made friends here, and we're comfortable here.
Awesome.
You need to say also that Sunday morning, it got to be a real befuddlement. You know, where to go? Where should we go to worship this week? And we tried many different congregations and really kind of felt uncomfortable in many of them, too conservative theologically, or the worship and preaching was not what I had ever done in my 40-year career as a parish pastor. Until we came to our unit out here one year and read in the Saturday Desert Sun paper, they had a religious page, and at the bottom of the page, in a very small little 2-line ad, it said in white letters on a black background, "God is still speaking," and then gave a phone number. I thought, well, that sounds very United Church of Christ to me, but it doesn't say it is. And I called the number, and Rev Kev was on the other end of the line, and that's how we heard about Bloom. And they were just getting started.
Wow.
Our singing was to the United Methodist hymnal that has a CD attached to it with the accompaniment. And so someone was pushing the button in the boombox, and that's how we started that worship. It was very simple. There were 20 people that worshiped
Less,
on
or less.
Sunday. Yeah, or less.
Wow.
And then the next year we came, and there was a larger group. They were meeting in a larger area where we now presently meet, and we watched more
You've
people
just
come.
watched it grow.
We watched it grow.
And the minute this congregation affiliated with the United Church of Christ, that sent out the word to other, around the denomination, and suddenly a lot of people started coming to Palm Springs, and when they're here, they look for a church, found it. And interestingly, a year or two ago, on one Sunday morning, there were 12 people that were from the Minnesota Conference of the United Church of Christ.
Wow.
Including 2 couples from one of the churches that I had served.
And just a
in
couple
Minnesota.
weeks ago, there were couples from each of 2 congregations he previously served in Minnesota.
Wow.
Were at Bloom.
That's
That's kind of special.
Yeah.
wow. It's too bad you weren't preaching on that Sunday.
Oh yeah, right.
That would have been something.
Right. I could have
Yeah.
bragged about why they were there.
So tell me, what does Bloom inspire in the two of you?
For me, it's openness and a feeling of, I can be comfortable here. We've gone to the Bible Bites. We were part of Dick Mall's book group. a while back, and I think the study in both of those areas has helped me a lot to widen my perspective on the Bible and on the church, and I'm very grateful to Bloom for that.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to the year that we've arrived, and the first Sunday back at Bloom, Elaine Wang Meyerhofer greeted me and said, "Did you enjoy your time away?" And I thought, that's a pretty good welcome, to realize that just a play on words could mean so much.
And this year when we came back, she was singing in the choir.
Yeah.
And the musical program, we've watched that progress, and that's a real draw, I think, because of the wonderful music on Sunday morning.
Well, and we got involved right from the beginning with the sandwich making on Monday mornings, making sandwiches for the homeless, and that was a very meaningful experience, and one that we used as kind of a springboard to making friendship in the congregation. You can't do it all on Sunday morning, but
Yes.
here's a chance.
We'd go down to the courtyard afterwards and visit with the people
Have
we had just
coffee.
worked with
Yeah.
from the church.
Yeah, sandwiches, and a lot of bloomers think that sandwiches do not continue, but we still have bloomers that go down and make sandwiches.
Okay.
We've just shifted the bulk of our bloomers to serving lunches, and I remember doing sandwiches, very meaningful, and it was a social event for bloomers to get to know each other, and that is a wonderful thing. Any time we get the chance to learn more about each other.
Have we been to all the spring flings?
Oh, I can't think of one we've missed.
Yeah, I think we've been to all of them.
So,
Yeah.
And another one coming up now.
Yes, and that is another social event. Yes, and there is a week from today, as a
Yes,
matter
yes.
of fact.
Right.
It's the same day as my mom's birthday, so it's easy to remember this year. But I want to thank you, both of you, John and Marion, for speaking today and letting bloomers find out a little bit more about you and about where you come from, where you've been, the things that you've done, and about how you found Bloom and what Bloom inspires in you. I appreciate your time. And bloomers, we look forward to seeing you on Sunday. And that'll be the Sunday after Spring Fling. So we'll have all had a wonderful Friday evening and wonderful celebration, celebrating the wonderful music. And I'm hoping that you'll be with us that Sunday after. And if you can't be with us in person, please be with us in spirit and keep us in your prayers as we keep you in our prayers. And again, thank you, John and Marion.
been our
Much
pleasure.
appreciated.
Thank you
All right.
for what you do for Bloom.